That's it. Good evening, everybody. Lovely song to play this evening. A bunch of recovering addicts sitting here around me, just enjoying that spirit that is moving around on the farm. Had a lovely day. Grateful to be sharing with you guys this evening. And tonight we have a special guest, Claude, that's going to be speaking about his life story and his testimony on what he's been through. I see all the comments coming through. Thank you guys. Good evening. Hi Auntie Carol, I saw your comment. But before I let Claude speak, I promised the guys that we will have our devotions. And they thought I was lying about it, you know. But we will have our devotions and it will come through. And my devotions this evening, guys, comes out of the book of Matthew. And it is Matthew 11, yes. Let me just get there quickly. Yes, Matthew 11 from verse 28 to 30. Now, the reason why I want to see this message with everybody, especially to you guys that are out there, times have become hard, South Africa. Times have become hard for people, you know. Our country's in turmoil. We went through COVID. We're going through trials and tribulations at the moment. And we're becoming scared. There's some sort of spirit of fear that is built up in us, that has made us confused. Now that's where the spirit of confusion comes in as well. Because now we don't know who to trust. Now we don't know what to turn to. Now me as a recovering addict sitting here this evening, when the pot gets too hot for me, meaning if it's boiling too much for me, my pressure will cook and it will shoot out. Now what do I turn to? The thing that I know best, that is drugs and alcohol. Drugs and alcohol is something that I turn to when things get too much for me, that I cannot handle it anymore. And that spirit of confusion can cause that to us, because our focus is so distracted that our eyes move away from God. And you know how I notice when I move away from God? I'm sorry, Claude, you're going to speak now because I'm going on a roll here, my brother.
No, roll, my brother, roll.
When I notice how I'm going off from God, when my focus is off, when I start complaining about things. Now you might think it's fine to have your opinion and complain about things. But now, for me, I complain too much because now I find fault with everything. Everything. And it's never my fault. That's how I know I'm being distracted. That's how I know that a spirit is attacking me. And that's where confusion comes in. And now, I don't want to turn to God with that, because I tried the God way. It's not working for me. My problem is still there, so it doesn't seem to be getting solved. Well, I want to tell you something for people sitting in this room and outside of this room that's in recovery. You are sober tonight. Isn't that enough for you? Because that's a working miracle for me sitting here this evening to be sober, in recovery, giving a meeting. I'm telling you, my brother. Come on! Hey? I'm telling you. Because that's how Satan comes and attacks us. You know, that is false evidence appearing real. I like that, man. That's an ultimate cliche. I'm writing that one down in my book. Thank you, Tanya Esther. False evidence appearing real. That's what fear stands for. And that's currently, of all the circumstances that we are going through now, what's happening is people is blaming one another. The blame shift game is playing. This one is doing that. That one is doing that. Oh no, it's too much of that. No, Mr. I only got one potato tonight. Therefore, I cannot go longer with my recovery here, because things are not seem to be working out for me here, because I only got one potato, Mr. The last time I checked, there's people out there that are not addicts, that are not using, that are starving this evening. So that's where the spirit of ungratefulness comes in, because now you start complaining about things. Now this is where my message comes in to people that are tired, that are sick and tired, that doesn't know which way to turn to, that don't know who to trust, that has lost focus from God, that shifted away from God. You can still plug into Him this evening. You have the direct access through Jesus Christ, my Savior, our Savior, your Savior, that died on the cross for your sins. Do you believe that you are worthy? Do you believe that Jesus died for you on the cross? Because I believe that this evening. I'm going to tell you why. Matthew 11 verse 28 says, "Come to me all you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you and learn from me, for I am gentle and humble in heart, and you will find rest in your souls. For my yoke is easy and my burden is light." Now isn't that beautiful? Isn't that assurance for you? Hey? Come to me, all of you. He's not saying white, black, colored, small, big, blue, 20, 40, 60. He's not saying being specific. He's saying, come to me all who are weary. Turn to Jesus Christ. Turn to God. Come to me and I will give you rest. And that is what the Lord has given me this evening. I found comfort in Him. I found my peace and my serenity in Him. And I want to share that with the rest of you guys. I want to remind you guys what Jesus done for you. Because it's easily to be distracted, guys, man. It's easy to blame other people. It's very easy to wake up in the morning and complain. And forgive me if I've complained too much also, Lord. But this evening I'm turning my will, my life over to you. I surrender completely, daily. It's a daily task I have to do. I might have repented and I might have accepted, because accept Christ as your Savior is a once-off thing. But daily surrender, that's the daily bread that comes in. Give us today our daily bread. Thank you for giving us that today, Lord. I want to remind all my brothers sitting in this room this evening, be grateful that you are sober and in a safe environment. Because maybe I could have been any other place. I could have been with my son, there's nothing wrong with that. I could have been with my mom. I could have been working in a different job, making a couple of rand, you know. And but I asked myself this question, would I have the same peace and the serenity that I have this evening if I was doing those things? Because those are not bad things. Could have been on a yacht also smoking a pipe, you know. I'm an arm length away from the drink or the drug. Whether I'm 1 day sober or 2 years sober, I'm an arm length away from the drink or the drug. And constantly I have to remind myself about that every day. That's why I have to work my program solidly, with vigilance, like the 1st of January just for today is. With vigilance I have to work my program. Am I grateful this evening to be sober? That's why I don't question or put a time on myself as to when I'm going to leave RAEL. Because I don't think I'll ever leave RAEL. Even if I should just leave the premises, RAEL will always be with me. RAEL will always be a part of my life. Mr. Wall will always be part of my life. He showed me things about myself that I never knew. God used that man. All glory goes to God. But God used Mr. Wall in my life to show me things about myself that I never knew. And I want to pass that on to each and every one of you. There are good things about yourselves this evening that you don't know. Come to me, all of you who are weary, and come find rest in me. My burden is light, my yoke is easy, says the Lord. Don't be distracted and don't lose focus from Him. Thank you guys, that's just my message from the spiritual side. I'm going to let Claude do his testimony. I want you just to listen to where this man comes from, what he's been through. Lovely gentleman. Came in the beginning, complained a lot also. That's why I'm giving this message this evening. But sitting here this evening, a fine young gentleman. Worked very hard to be where he's at now at the moment. Working hard on his recovery. Going through the literature. Being of service to the next person. Stepping out of self. Because he realized that this place, Mr. Wall, and obviously God, has restored him back to sanity. Has gave him a new heart and a new mind. And to see him grow the way he's growing, like each and every person sitting here this evening is growing, it encourages me to hold on and to push through any trial, any tribulations, because I'm no longer suffering this evening.
Thank you, sir. I'll speak now, don't listen. Good evening, everybody. My name is Claude Alvin Mcfadden. Alvin, yes. I'm currently 36. I'm turning 37 this year. I would just first like to start this off by thanking Mr. Hall for the opportunity and for allowing me on the farm. And I would like to thank Auntie Leslie for all you have done, man. You've been you are my second mother. Sorry, Ma, you are still my first mother. I'd like to thank all my brothers for sitting around here. Thank you, Sir Adi. Very inspiring message you have given. And like you said, all the glory goes to God. I'd like to start off with my testimony. It started all when I was very young, actually. And my mother and father, they were good parents. I was the one that was in the wrong. It all happened when I was in primary school. I was in standard 4, and I met this one friend called Talden Peach, and me and him, all our friends were now in standard 8, so we had no friends our age. And yeah, we became very naughty, and so we started sniffing benzene at school. We started smoking weed at school. I stole my mother's bottle of Richelieu, downed it, and then rode my bicycle to school. Got suspended that week again. Once again I got suspended, and yeah, the principal phoned my father and mother and said, "Look, Mrs. Mcfadden and Mr. Mcfadden, your son cannot ride his bicycle home. He's too drunk." Anyways, so then I was suspended for a week, went back to school the next week. So, me and my friend Talden, we used to fight with the guys because we were bullies. We were the main men, or at least we thought so. And yeah, we carried on, and eventually it got to a point where it was so bad that at the beginning of standard 5, the principal actually banned us from the school, from everybody else, because we were a danger to them and to the teachers, and obviously a danger to ourselves. Because like addiction, addiction is a disease. So it's not just the drugs that I was on later on in my life that caused the problem. The problem started way before then. And that's what I've come to realize here at RAEL, through all the literature and through working my steps and with my sponsor, AD, and everything like that. But the story goes on like this. So, beginning of standard 5, we go to school in any case, and yeah, we cause a lot of hassles, a lot of problems, fighting with the teachers, Oh man, we used to go every day to my friend, he's a pastor now, Bryn Lotter. And we used to go to his house and we would smoke weed every day. He would send me to go buy parcels of weed, or better known as marijuana. We'd get high, drink beer, then I'd go home. I would slip by my folks, go to my room, and this was an everyday thing. So that's when my disease actually started, was there without me knowing it. Not knowing that later on in life it would affect me, my friends, my family, society alone called me a monster. So anyways, then after that, I got suspended again because me and my friend, we put this other guy on his knees in front of his mother and told him to apologize to us because he was fighting with another friend that was carrying out dope for us. And so we slapped him, and we were the main men. And then halfway through standard 5, I got expelled from primary school. And the principal of that primary school actually he phoned all the other primary schools in the area. This was in Johannesburg, Boksburg at the time, Gauteng. And yeah, no other primary school would accept me. Not boarding schools, not local schools, not private schools, until there was this one school that said, "No, we'll give your son a chance." Okay, that was all good and everything. I went to a new school, I had 2 terms left of standard 5, new people. So I was a bully, I had to make my name there. Got other friends there that I got them smoking weed and going to buy me weed. When I get back to my friends that are in standard 8 in Boksburg High, then I would show off to them, look what I got them to do. So, but anyways, and then it was in standard 5 where I started running with gang members. And this was at the East Rand Mall. And they were all driving cars, and I was very mature for my age. And yeah, we used to, at one point, we were called the BAMFs, badass. I don't like to swear. So, and yeah, there was 100 of us. I was leader of that pack, and I thought I was the man, And so we used to drink every weekend. We used to fight. We used to do a lot of wrong things. We used to sell drugs, rob people. Well, I never done it. I got the other guys to do it for me because, I was the one that was always with the intelligence and my mouth. That was my power. And I got all the other guys to do it for me. And I remember listening to Tupac early in the morning till late at night on a Saturday before I got out, you know. And yeah, I would take my mother's 38 Special and I would put it in my belt and I would go. This is in Standard 5 when I was only 14 at the time. And yeah, it was fully loaded. My mother obviously didn't know because she would kill me. But yeah, later on I nearly shot a few people that night because my brother was in this other gang called the Sow Boys. And yeah, so I said they were giving him hassles and wanted to initiate him. So I told him, look, let me pull out the 38. Let me just take care of these guys quickly. It's not an issue for me. I was heartless. And so anyways, then the one night after that, because we went there every weekend, and my mother actually came out the one night to the East Rand Mall, to the skating park where was on top, where we were all busy listening to loud music, gangster music, drinking, smoking weed. And she came looking for me, and she couldn't find me, and she was so worried because I was busy. I was in the car seat, busy doing a lot of other stuff. And yeah, my one friend was in this other gang, I remember, at the same time. This is all happening when I was in Standard 5. And I actually got him, I got him to take a hit out on my dad because I had a lot of resentment towards my dad at that point. And, you know, because of getting expelled and suspended from school, and, you know, they had to keep us away from the children. Me and Talden, they used to put us in the office, one in that room, one in this room. Every break, morning, first break, second break, after school, kept us away from the children, away from the teachers. And yeah, we were quite isolated at that point, so we couldn't cause any more trouble inside of school. That's why we went outside of school and done it outside of school. It's just how it was. It's like that. And so, you know, from a very young age, I was busy doing a lot of drugs and a lot of drinking. And so I got to high school eventually, and yeah, high school was pretty chilled because I already done everything in primary school that I wasn't supposed to do, but I thought it was very cool at the time. And so I went through high school just smoking, I like the word just, smoking weed, not knowing back then. It's a lot of us addicts like to say, you know, it's just marijuana, but still it's a mind-altering substance, finished. And if it's a mind-altering substance, you are powerless over it. If you can't admit you are powerless, my bro, then yeah, you must come to RAEL so we can teach you, or they can teach you the steps properly and do proper step work. Because we are not 30 days here. We are not 30 days. This isn't a 28-day rehab where you can be recovered 28 days, 12 steps, 28 days, you are done, finished, go home, give me your money. No, a lot of nonsense. Because I've been to many rehabs in my life, plenty, thousands, not thousands, I'm exaggerating, but about 14, I do apologize. And it's cost me and my folks mostly a lot of money. But besides that, carrying on with my testimony, when I went through high school, I was smoking weed, drinking, and when I done very well. I was a very, very intelligent young man at that time. And when I finished matric, I went to Boston Business College. I was doing my diploma in IT, doing my IT diploma, and I was doing well, getting 98 and 99%. And yeah, it was halfway through that I was one day at my granny's house with my brother, John Mcfadden. He was 3 years older than me. And I say that because he did pass on. We'll get to that at a later stage. So anyways, I used to smoke a lot of weed, and my brother, he laced the weed with heroin, with tar white. Back in the day, it was proper tar white. And sorry, it was. It's an honest program I'm working. I've learned to be completely honest, open-minded, and willingness. It says it in the steps. Those are my spiritual principles. Anyways, so yeah, you know, it was weird because the first time I hit that socket, we used to call it a socket. It was a 21 1-inch Godot socket that we used to fill with weed like this, and yeah, and my first hit I had of it, I remember it clearly. I think all of us can remember our first time we picked up that first hardcore drug. And I'm not saying that weed and all of that is a lesser drug. No, it's not. But heroin is it is more hardcore. I'm just gonna say it like that because it is. And I liked it. I won't lie. I really liked it. I didn't know it was heroin because I was against hardcore drugs. I thought it was tar white. That's how insane I was at the time. And so yeah, I hit it, and then I got extremely high. I was itching all over, throwing up. It was terrible. But it was nice at the same time because it took away all those insecurities I had at the time. It took away all that resentments I had all the time. It took away everything. It made my life feel better. That's how cunning our disease of addiction is. And so I didn't know how to use it properly, how to smoke it or how to inject it. So I didn't even know where to buy it at the time. So I would go into my brother's leather jacket and I would look for it. And I remember clearly, like the second time I used it, I found it and I didn't know how to use it. I put it we used to get it in bags. So a bag is maybe say 2 quarters or 3 quarters or something like that. It's quite a lot. And I put the whole bag on the pipe and I mix it in the weed like a cream. And I smoke it, and I got so high that I only woke up the next day. And after that, it was very downhill because my colored friend Michael Roy, that at the time, because he also passed on from drug addiction, God bless his soul. I introduced him to it, and then we introduced a hell of a lot of people. I even got my girlfriend to start spiking because that's the only way that I could get other people to use so that I could use myself. And that's because I ran out of money. My family wasn't very rich at the time. So that's what I done. And so then after 3 months of using, me and my friend Michael, is more like a brother to me. He is my brother. And we were using, and I remember walking down his path, down the driveway of his house, and we looked at each other. That one bra that you've got that you don't have to speak to him. You just know what he's thinking. He knows what you think. You know what I'm saying? It's like that. And so we looked at each other and we're like, I don't want to swear, we are the F word. So, then after that, that's when the hustle started. We started hustling every day for the heroin. When the heroin called and said, Claude, jump, I would say, how high, sir? It ruled my life. Finished. It was my wife. If I can relate it to that, I did not want to divorce heroin. Finished. It took away all my stuff, and plus it turned my life into turmoil. But at the same time, I had withdrawals and I didn't understand addiction at all. And I remember I started a mechanic apprenticeship at Case. I was a diesel mechanic. And I would use every day to go to work. I would steal from my mother. I would steal from her purse. I wasn't robbing people at that time. I was more just very, very sly and very scallum. And I'm not scallum anymore, AD. But and then I would just use and use and use and use. I would wake up to use, and I would go to use to go to bed. It was like that every day, the same repeating pattern. And that's just the way my insanity came from. And, doing the same thing and expecting a different outcome. And so I would steal, me and my friends would actually wake up, and then we'd sit there and we'd think, what can we take today? And we'll start at the kitchen of his house, of his mother's house. And we'd say, okay, there's a blender, there's a chicken fryer. No, we can't take that. They're going to miss that. A toaster. And then we'll go from bedroom to bedroom like that, and we'll work our plan out. And then we would use. We'd go sell it and use. And, that's how we disappointed our families. And I would do the same. Me and him would do the same at my house. And so it went on for many years. I've been addicted to heroin. That was my drug of choice for 17 years. And so we would just use every day. We'd do everything to use. And it's going on a few years now. I went to many rehabs, and like I told you earlier on, it just I was a 30-day. I would even go to meetings. I'd go to meetings, smoke before I go to meetings and say, "Hi, my name's Claude. I'm an addict. Thank you very much." And I'd keep quiet. And then I would also share in the meetings and tell them what I'm feeling, not knowing that, I'm lying not just to them and to myself, but I'm lying to God, because He kept me alive through all of that. Many times I should have been dead, and I'm still here today, and I give God all the glory. I thank Mr. Hall and Auntie Leslie. I thank Lincoln. I thank Angus. I thank Adi. I thank all of them, because they are the ones that helped me recover and helped me do the steps to get me to learn the spiritual principles of the program. And that's where I got in touch with the God of my understanding, which is God. And that is what saved me. So carrying on, there was one night, I'd like to say this, because this is a very powerful thing, and it was a hard thing for me to deal with, but now I can speak about it freely, because what I have learned here at RAEL, how I've learned coping mechanisms, and how I've learned to have honesty, integrity, how I've learned just to be myself. They allow us to be ourselves here, but they teach us to deal with our problems and to work through it. And it's just for today. It's a just for today program. Like Adi said earlier on in the introduction, just for today I am clean. And that is enough for me. That is what I am completely grateful for. And God is real. Anybody who does not believe that, you really need to just go down on your knees and surrender to Him. I didn't believe it when I first came in here, I'll be honest. But I thought I have no other choice. Well, let me try it this way. If it doesn't work, screw it. I'll leave the farm. I'll be an addict my whole life. But now it's worked, and God has really changed in my life. And I'm just very grateful for that, because, where I come from, I even stabbed my own brother, and a week later he passed on. We were at a club one night. I was heavy on tablets. I was on every kind of sleep. Well, not every kind, most sleep. I was on Dormanoc 2 milligram. I took 4 of those. I took Atrax 100 milligram, 2 of those. I took Zolpidem. I took 1 of those. Then I would still spike. I still spiked 2 bags. Then I still went out. I thought, lekker, now I feel okay for a little while. Go to the club, start drinking, playing pool, and I wanted to get some coke for myself, because I needed to try balance this whole system out. Very insane. But anyways, and then my brother actually hit me, and I started bleeding, and I waited for an hour. I sat outside the club. He went home, and I thought, you know what, let me sober up a little bit. I went and got my fix quickly, spiked, and I went home. And when I got home, that's when all hell broke loose. It was a demon inside of me. It was a spirit of anger, a spirit of resentment, a spirit of just destruction. I actually ended up stabbing him twice in both his lungs, puncturing them. And, I remember we were in his bedroom, and he was on the floor. He was begging for his life. He was like, "Claude, don't kill me, please." I was like, you know what? A lot angrier. I was like, "I will kill you. You don't do this to me. You don't hurt me. Nobody hurts me. Nobody but nobody." And he was begging for his life. And those are the words that really, really break my heart. Because little did I know, a week later, he would pass on. And I had so much resentment towards him through that whole week. I badmouthed him to my friends. I told everybody, what a screw up my brother is. Look how I beat him. He's 3 years older than me. Look how I stabbed him, because I am that wannabe gangster, like AD always says. I'm that wannabe man. It's all about me, myself, and I. And that wasn't my turning point yet, because that just made everything a lot worse. That put me into self-pity. It put me into a whole headspace where I could not be, and I carried on using, because that's the only thing that took the pain away. And little did I know how much pain, I didn't even care how much pain I caused to my parents. It took away their oldest son, took away my mother's firstborn, took away my father's firstborn son with my own hands. His blood is on my hands. But the good news is, guys, ladies and gentlemen, that I have for you, is that God has forgiven me for that. It's through Jesus' blood that my brother's blood has been washed off of my hands because I have been forgiven. And I would like to tell everybody out there that we all make mistakes. We all do. We all do things when we are angry. We all do things we don't think about when we do it. But the consequences that come afterwards, that's what we should start focusing on. You know, like I was having a prayer today when I was hanging the dishcloths, because I work in the kitchen now at RAEL, and I've been given that opportunity. I've been given that position, and I absolutely love it. But anyways, I was praying outside while I was hanging washing, and you know, I was speaking to God just like I speak to you over here, and I was telling him, you know, like, look, God, this is how I'm feeling now. I surrendered it all to him. You know, I didn't care who was around. I was speaking loud, and I didn't care because I don't care anymore. It's all about God. It's all about the glory goes to him. And I was actually thinking about the literature and the steps and stuff. And to me personally, it's through only working the steps that you can find and learn the spiritual principles of yours. And when you learn the spiritual principles, you can, it all ties in together. The literature all ties in together. And I was telling Adi today, actually, that I came to realize myself that the program is actually a spiritual program. I know it. I read it in the literature, but the thing is that we all think it's a 12-step program. Let me do it on paper, get it done with. I don't want to start it. But once you actually start going into it, and you see that it's a spiritual program, and that there are so many spiritual principles, you know, open-mindedness, honesty, integrity, you know, being loyal, being faithful, just being yourself and changing yourself. You find that inner peace that we speak about, and today I have it. Even though I was the cause of my brother's death, I don't have that burden anymore. God has taken it away from me, and it's only through the principles, the spiritual principles that I have learned. I've come so far. I give myself a hand of a clap, because I have come so far, but I know I still got so far to go. And the nice thing about it is that I am not alone. I have my brothers around me, which I respect, I love. Yes, we argue, but at times we do argue. Yes, Mikey. But you know what? We always encourage each other. And like Eddie said, the spirit on the farm now is so much calmer now than what it used to be. It's so much. God is here more now. You know, I can feel that presence. And for me personally, I love recovery. I used to hate recovery. I just used to walk and say, yeah, look, I am Claude, I'm an addict. Yes, okay, that's it. Share. Okay, go home. Do the same thing the next day. And for me, my recovery is, you know, this is one thing I'd like to tell you guys. You can work this out for yourself. Sorry, I have to say this. Is that, and I got taught this here at RAEL, and it makes a lot of sense to me. You know, I do have another relapse in me. But there's one thing that I am 100% certain of. I do not have another recovery inside of me. I don't. So for me, that speaks to me straight, because if I leave and I go out, and it's not about the farm, it's not about anything. It's about me going out of RAEL before they have equipped me with what I need to survive on the outside. Because we are in a protected environment where we can learn from our mistakes, where we can be guided, and where we can have God guide our recovery and guard it. That's the most important thing. And for me personally, I need to work my program. I need to be in touch with my God of my understanding. And I had to make a decision to turn my will and my life over to the care of God as I understand Him. And I done that. And I am so grateful I done that, because the life I have now and the life I had before, it's two different things. I am no longer who I used to be. And for me, I absolutely love that. I love the person who I am now. I don't have to pretend to be nobody. I don't have to impress nobody. I don't have to show off for nobody, except one person. I have to show off. I have to show off my God, because my God is great. And And that's it, you know. So I'd like to speak to every addict out there. This message, even if I can just save one soul tonight, just one person, that would make the biggest difference in my life. That would make my recovery worthwhile, because my recovery is a lifelong process. It's not a 30-day process, 60-day process. Alcoholic beer, because I'm an addict, so I can drink non-alcoholic beer. My friends, why would they say non-alcoholic? So it's Tate, yeah. We have a disease of addiction, guys. We have a disease of addiction. So if I say I can drink non-alcoholic beer, that means, okay, so why do they put alcoholic on the beer? So what am I? Am I not addicted to alcohol? Am I trying to justify it? Am I looking at alcohol as separate? Because I know once I had that non-alcoholic beer, I'm going to think, okay, it's lekker. Now I can go have just one beer, just one. And that's how we lie to ourselves. And that's where we fall. That's one of the reasons we fall. Another reason that we can also relapse, we get a relapse, a physical relapse where we use drugs. And we get another relapse which we should be very, very, very careful and very vigilant with, and we should really have a look at it. It's called a spiritual relapse. And that is when you stop working your program. It's when you stop surrendering to God. It's when you stop having that integrity. It's where you stop having that honesty. It's where you become dishonest. And it's the small little trap holes that we leave open, and those holes become bigger and bigger, and eventually it's finished. There we go. There you destroy your family's life again after they've given you a chance. You've wasted money. You destroy your friends. You lose friends. You know, like just before I came here, I'd like to share. Just before I came here, I was staying with my mom and dad. I was leeching off of them. And I was sleeping on a floor. I was sleeping on the kitchen floor. I had no blanket. I had no pillow. I had no clothes. I had no nothing. And, you know, my insanity was so, to a point of a scale of 1 to 10, it was on 15. Because I would actually pray to God that God would make a way for me to go in the house, steal the money out of my father's wallet, a 200 Rand note or 100 Rand note, and I would pray and say, please, don't let him notice that 100 Rand is gone out of his purse, because then I'm going to go back to jail. Because my parents put me in jail. That's what they done. And they got a restraining order against me. Because I pulled a gun on my father, I shouted with him, I fought with him, I treated my mother like she was a dog. I done so many things. And even when I was in prison, this is one of the things, even when I was in prison, I also became a gangster. I was 26. Skan Skiliki Jan. And
keep it up.
Actually my gunya, he told me, Claude, because I tried to phone my parents, and you know how things work, guys, and they wouldn't do anything for me, you know. And my gunya told me, Claude, you need Jesus in your life. Little did I understand those words. Today I can sit here and say, now I understand it, because the only way you can recover is through God. And the only way, not the only way, one of the ways that we get tortured to get through God is through the 12 steps and through the spiritual principles. And I know it was supposed to be, I was supposed to tell my testimony, but my testimony is recovery, because it's not about my past that counts so much, it's my future that counts even more than my past. And it's like that. And for me personally speaking, you know, it's that I was powerless over my addiction, and my life was so unmanageable, people, that I actually prayed to God to help me to steal. That's how unmanageable it was. Now, can you picture yourself praying to God to help you steal, to get your drugs, hurt the people you're stealing from, and think it's still alright the next morning when you wake up? After I used, I would say, tomorrow I am going to stop. Tomorrow comes, what do? I pray to God again. Insanity, powerlessness, you know. And even though we are not responsible for our disease, we are not responsible for it, we are responsible for our own recovery, guys. We have to take recovery seriously, and we have to be responsible in our recovery. We can't take it as a joke. It's a life or death matter. There is no other way about it. And we can't blame people anymore, places, things for our addiction or our problems and our feelings. We can't do that. We have to change the places, the people, and our thoughts and the playgrounds. We have to change our whole way of thinking. And that's where the program comes in. Like I always say to myself, it's God is rewiring my brain from that level of insanity that I was in, that I caused so much hurt, that I caused so much pain for not just society, but for my mother and father, for my closest relatives. Another story I'd like to share with you, how insane I was and how powerless I was over my addiction, how the devil lied to me. My own granny, she had a stroke. I remember clearly she had a stroke. It was on a Thursday night at 7:30. I don't remember the date. But as the ambulance was taking her away, my mother sent me, Claude, go fetch your granny's wallet. It was her mother. And I went to go fetch her wallet. Sorry, Mom, if you are watching, I do apologize. But
Don't say sorry.
yeah, no, I take responsibility for it. So that's why, and I'm admitting it. And so I took a 50 rand, my granny's last 50 rand out of her wallet, and I kept it on my side. I took it scallop, I stole it, gave the wallet back, and that night she died. The granny I loved, the granny that looked after me, the granny that gave me her last cent, would give me a last cent to go buy me some sweets, because she was on pension then. That's the granny I stole from. That's the type of thing I used to do. And for me, I always like put those things aside. I always put those things down. And that's why I use drugs. I didn't have to think of all these things that I told you. And for me personally, I've come to deal with all of those, drastic issues in my life. And I can sit here more than an overcomer. I can speak about it freely. I can, without feeling any guilt or any resentment or anything like that, because for me personally, God is doing wonders in my life. And if you just give it a try, just give God a try. You have nothing to lose, guys. Ladies and gentlemen, you have nothing to lose if you give God a try.
Amen. Just
give him a try. Try it. I promise you, if it can work for me, trust me, it can work for you. That much I know, I guarantee you. And I would also, just as I end off here, I want to give God all the glory and all the praise. I'd like to thank Mr. Hall. Thank you, Mr. Hall, for letting me on this farm. Thank you, sir, for changing my life. Thank you for instilling these principles in my life. Thank you for making me become a man again, because the drugs humbled me so badly to a point where I couldn't do it anymore. And you have given me the tools, sir, to carry on with my life, to say that I can actually be a man and I can take responsibility for my actions. Not to say sorry, but take responsibilities for my actions, to stand as a man and say, I've done that, I've done this, and I surrendered at God's feet, and I can move on and become a man and become a normal person in society. And for me, that is one of the biggest things, Mr. Hall, because for me personally, my life right now, I've never had life so great. Life is great for me. Every day I get to wake up sober. Every day I get to go to devotions. A lot of people, they don't get to go to devotions. They have to go to work. They have to take their kids to school. They have to normal things in life. They are very busy people. Here at RAEL, we get given so many opportunities. We get given so much hope as well. We get devotions. We get meetings. We even hold meetings in our own rooms. We have topic meetings. We have open discussion meetings. Yes, Mikey, we're gonna have another meeting tonight. And we just can be ourselves, and we can learn from our mistakes. And in my point in my recovery, where I am now, I am so blessed to have it. And every morning I wake up and I thank God. That's the first thing I do. Even before I brush my teeth or anything, I thank God just for today that I am sober, because that is what counts. Every day that I am sober is another day of victory. And I'd like to encourage you all, everybody who is listening, spread the message. It's for free. I got this message for free. I got given all of this by Mr. Hall, Auntie Leslie, Angus, Lincoln, AD. They are the ones that have helped me. Even when I was here, it was a month ago, I was insane. Let me tell you that. I was going through some stuff, and you know, I came to the house and I asked them, look, this is what's wrong with me, and they cared for me. There's people here who love us. That's all I can say. It's not about how much money or anything like that. Money is not even a thing. And Mr. Hall actually said that he would sponsor me after my 3 months here because my family cannot afford it. Now you show me one man that can say that and mean it. No one in my life has ever given me a chance like that. No one has ever told me, Claude, you are doing well in your recovery. Keep it up, my boy. I thank you for that, sir. I take my hat off to you. So I'm so grateful for you. I'm grateful for Auntie Leslie helping me in the kitchen, helping me every day, helping me with my problems. I thank the doctor. Thank you, doctor. Thank you for helping me. Thank you for all of you guys loving me. Because I was the type of person that nobody wanted to love. In my own hometown in Boksburg, before I moved to Durban, which I had to because my family was too embarrassed because they used to call me a monster. Even my father used to say, Claude, you have no respect or dignity for human life. Human life means nothing to you. Now I can sit here and say, I can love another person unconditionally, just like God loves me. And I would just like to say, give it a try, guys. I mean, you're not gonna lose anything. Really, you're not gonna lose anything. You're gonna have so much to gain. The peace and love I have today, you can't put a price on it. No amount of money can buy what I have today. And I am grateful for it. I'm grateful for every little thing that I have. And with that, I would just like to say thank you to Mr. Hall, the leadership, and to everybody. And I'd like to thank all my brothers here as well around me, because it's not just about me, myself, and I. It's about my brothers around me. And I love each and every one of you guys. I really do. Even you, Bruce. I do love you, my brother. I know we got off on a bad start. I love you, my brother. I love you. And it's not that thank you. You see? I have people that love me, and I can love them back. It's a brotherhood. It's a family. We are a family here. And believe me, I will not let anybody destroy this family. I won't. I will put my life on the line for this family of mine. No one will destroy it. No one will even... How can I say this without sounding like too bad? Is that RAEL is my family. Finished. That's the bottom line. And anybody who has anything bad to say about RAEL, you know what? Surrender, take it to God, and God will change your heart about us. Come and have a look for yourselves. What good work God is doing here. What good work Mr. Hall is doing here. What good work Auntie Leslie is doing here. What good work Angus is doing here. What good work Lincoln is doing here. What good work AD is doing. Believe me, I'm not a liar. I work an honest program. My recovery is the most important thing in my life. So for me to give you a lie would be for me to have a spiritual relapse. And I'm not relapsing spiritually or physically. So I give you my word. This is my family. And I love them and they love me, and I am happy. And I encourage every addict out there. There is hope for you, because I am sitting here today and I am clean just for today. And if I can do it, my brothers and sisters, so can you. And I just thank you guys. Thank you, AD. Thank you, sir. Thank you, ma'am.
Wow. 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 Fantastic.
Thank you, sir.
Are you sure you didn't write everything around, brother? Because the way you spoke this evening is as if you've done it before.
I spoke from my heart. It's the first time I've ever given my testimony, sir.
Lovely stuff, man.
Just shows you what
Sure.
RAEL has done for me.
Yo,
What
guys,
God has done through us.
I'm telling you, that was a powerful, powerful testimony. To sit here this evening, actually, Claude, it's an honor to be in the presence of a share like that. And to see the beauty of God work in your life is amazing, my brother. To see how you've grown in your recovery, to see how you accept correction, how you listen to wisdom, how you put into practice what you are taught. You have proven this evening that there is a living God just based on your story that you've told. And the story or the journey doesn't end here. It is still added on to that story as he's doing his time here at RAEL, doing what he's doing. Such committed words, loyal words that he spoke about, that he found a family here at RAEL. So that means there must be something working here, guys.
100%.
I don't know. Look at Ainu, he's even smiling at me. I love it. I love it. And you know, all the guys are sitting here this evening with a smile on their face, even the toppies. And we love you guys as well. We learn a lot from the elderly men that are here. They sit here, they just humble, they don't say much, but in their actions it speaks a lot. And for us younger guys to have an older generation here, it actually installs a sort of, you know, a dominant side of our recovery where we have to work a vigorous program. And that is rehab talk, that is correct, yes. But Auntie Leslie wants me to share something that she read about, you know, not read about, her devotion that she got. And I think this mostly stands out for a man like Mr. Hall. But before I read it, I want to touch on a few things, you know, that I just need to get off my heart and what I need to discuss as well, and just speak recovery, you know. On everything that Claude shared this evening, especially the part about what happened between him and his brother and the burden he had to carry through his addiction. Now I understand why Claude is the way he is, because I never knew that part of him. And that's what I spoke about the other evening. Sometimes we don't get the time to get to know one another here, know each other's life story, so we can see the background and why we are the way we are, you know. And I think like this evening, if we take the time to do that, ladies and gentlemen, we get to understand where the person is coming from. And we sit here with an open mind to take in. We might not relate to everything Claude has done, but with the similarities of the hurt, the pain, the trauma that he's been through. I mean, like, I felt the same way. A dead zombie walking around, you know, with no feeling or no emotion to anything. And to see how God has worked in this man's life, and to see how God has given him the strength to forgive himself for everything that he's taken him through, and his family that supports him 100% behind him, that he found here and out there as well, and even you guys on the RAEL farm as well. That's powerful. Yes, Mr. Hall, how's it, sir? All love from you guys. Yes, we will watch your live in the next 5 minutes, sir. But you know, Mr. Hall, I just want to say something to you also, sir, you know. And take it from where it comes from, you know, what I'm going to say. Because I'm going to relate it to literature here so potently that you got to take your own inventory here. Now, Mr. Hall, when the guys went out with you on your trip, sir, whether it was to casinos, to meetings that you've given, live talks that you've given, because I went out with you, I did those talks with you. I've seen you give live meetings, I've seen you went in the community, did talks, given back to the community. And when they go out with you and do these type of things, and the benefit comes, you know, they weren't complaining when the Kruin was coming their way, they weren't complaining with the hotels they were staying in, they weren't complaining when you were paying their bills, you know, they weren't complaining when things were going lekker, so, you know. And the moment you put in place, I call it the Humble Pie program, is that correct, Lincoln? The Humble Pie program, when that program kicks in, for that person, whoever it is, they seem to have a problem with the place, and then they want to run away and stay away and badmouth you, so. Okay, now I myself has been through the Humble Pie program, and I can tell you one thing, it made me much stronger than what I am today. It pushed me through, because I realized I didn't come here to get to know Mr. Hall, to get a Kruin for the benefit or anything like that, man. I didn't come here for a job, let me just make that part clear. I didn't come here to work. I came here to get my life right. I came here to get my life right, yeah. I didn't come here for a job. I didn't come here to graduate. I didn't come here to get my license. I didn't come here for ingrown toenails. I came here to get myself right and my life right, you know. And now I'm gonna relate this to recovery. Now in active addiction, when I sat around a group like I'm sitting now, and there was a lot of drugs on the table. Say for instance, this was the drugs, and Auntie Leslie's bro, all good there. Say for instance, these were the drugs, and it's all on the table, and we have something to drink here and everything. Everything is Easter, you know, the music is playing, it's live and direct. Uncle Saki even has his brandewyn next to him. Uncle B's there with the OB, and we have Uncle Eric there with the Skoon vodka and doing his thing. Everything seems to be going fine, you know, things are good, you know. But the moment the drugs ran out, then we sit and look at each other. Like, who you? What do you have there for me, my brother? And it's the same thing we did in active addiction, you know. I never thought I had a problem until the drugs ran out because of how far I was willing to go to get that drug. Now you that ran away, or whatever it is you want to call it, you left, you did what you had to do, you're taking care of your family, it's fine and okay, because when Mr. Hall was doing everything fine for you and paid for you to be here, paid for your accommodation, paid for your trip, paid the salary, everything what the whole trip is. And I'm not here for that, Mr. Hall. I'm not here to boast about you or to speak anything good about you. I'm just speaking the God's honest truth, man, Mr. Hall. You know? Because you're the best thing since sliced bread when you're doing everything fine and buying the food and paying for everything, you know, sir. But the moment that is taken away, then there's some problem with you. I don't understand that part. That's the same thing in active addiction, man. When the drugs ran out, then there was some problem. Now you run away from the place. Now you talk bad about Mr. Hall. Oh, Mr. Hall did this. Oh, Mr. Hall did that. I only got one potato, Mr. Hall. Why does he get 3? You know? So work that one out for yourself, man. You know? Myself and Angus doesn't have to take anything from people. Being accused of taking people's things. I don't like that, man. Because the last time I checked, it's the same people that you are sitting with that sold your things, man. Let me just get that part straight and clear. And many other people's things as well. You know? That's the God's honest truth, man. That's where it comes from, man. So stop with the accusations of accusing and blaming Mr. Hall, blaming AD, blaming Angus, blaming Lincoln. You know? Take your own inventory. I've taken my inventory this evening. I know what my wrong part in the whole situation is. But I'm grateful to be sitting here carrying the message and making sure that the recovery is given first hand to everybody, man. So nothing has actually changed if nothing changes, if you still have that same mindset. You know? Because Mr. Hall is the best thing when he's giving everything to you, and the moment he takes it away from you, there's a problem. This is my issue now with the farm. Oh no! I can't go on anymore. Some people said my spiritual condition is not where it's supposed to be. The last time I checked, I'm still sitting here because of my spiritual condition. Where are you? You can't relapse if you weren't in recovery. Work that one out for yourself. Okay. So, yeah, now Lincoln, I just want to hop onto that part as well because, you know, Mr. Hall, they say they couldn't leave your side the proper way like a gentleman would. They had to leave the way they did, to stab you in the back and to badmouth you and to rob you and to steal from you and to take your things. The only reason why, my opinion is, when people leave that way is when you've done something wrong out of exchange. Now, here was a man working for Mr. Hall that comes from the streets. His name is Richard Ferreira. I'll speak about him. Came through the program, did what he had to do, finished his program, became sober living, got a job out here in Worcester, then worked for Mr. Hall, got his Springbok colours, and left here on the right terms with a hug and a handshake to Mr. Hall to say thank you for everything that you have done, Mr. Hall. I salute you for that, Richie, baby. I look up to you for that. And Richie, if anybody got cucked out by Mr. Hall, sorry for swearing here, but Richie, God, he got it the hardest here, you know. I sometimes even felt sorry for Richie, you know. But you can't tell me you couldn't have left Mr. Hall's side the right way, man. Mr. Hall is not unfair, man. Don't make him out to be unfair. He broke his back for each and every person sitting here in this room. You might not even know that you're sitting here in this room because you don't know what he does for you. But I do. I know exactly what Mr. Hall does for us. Amen. So I want to say thank you to that, sir. And Auntie Leslie just want me to share this message. I'm not going to speak long. But just work that part out for you guys, man. With the recovery literature. You never thought you had a problem until the drugs ran out. You never thought you had a problem until the benefits stopped coming your way from Mr. Hall. Was it all about the benefit? Or was it about your recovery? Maybe your foundation has been put on the wrong things. So my message towards you, Mr. Hall, from Auntie Leslie comes out of the book of Isaiah 61 from verse 1 to 3, sir. And this is what you've done for each and every one of us. And why God has chosen you and called you and ordained you to do this, sir. The Spirit of the Sovereign Lord is on me, because the Lord has anointed me to proclaim good news to the poor. He has sent me to bind up the brokenhearted, to proclaim freedom from the captives and release them from darkness for the prisoners, to proclaim the year of the Lord's favor and the day of vengeance of our God, to comfort all who mourn and provide for those who grieve in Zion, to bestow on them a crown of beauty instead of ashes, the oil of joy instead of mourning, and a garment of praise instead of a spirit of despair. They will be called oaks of righteousness, a planting of the Lord for the display of His splendor. Thank you for everything that you've done for us, sir. You've been anointed, sir, to do that. You've healed my family. My sister stepped into recovery, sir, after 18 years of heroin addiction.
Sure.
Thank you, Mr. Hall, for everything that you've done for each and every one of us, sir. I'll play your live and I will let the guys watch it, sir. I love you, sir. Thank you,
Mr.
RAEL,
Hall.
and thank you, everybody.
Thank you, sir.
Say thank you, guys.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Mr.
sir.
Hall.